My name is Sunny and I'm 61 years of age. 2009, I had a heart attack. Around about in 2008, I got this dream job that I was always looking for, and that was to build this new business. Within about 8 months later, the company was starting to restructure and we all had to reapply for our jobs. And then I was getting all these palpitations, shortness of breath, and very shallow breathing. And I was just agitated all the time, cannot sleep. And this had a huge impact on me. It was a day after my birthday, and I was actually driving to a work site, and I started getting these pins and needles right throughout my body. More symptoms coming up, and the heart was actually hammering against my rib cage, and I could feel that my neck, the main artery, was going to burst. And I was very fortunate that the work site, those people actually were all volunteers of St. John's Ambulance. They helped me out. They got hold of St. John's Ambulance, picked me up, and I was taken to Auckland City emergency ward. The symptoms were just getting worse and worse, and my body was just shutting down, and I had no control over it. A physician came in, and he listened into my chest, and he realized there was something radically wrong. And so they immediately started to take blood samples, and I think within a few minutes they came back and said, heart attack. We do have a family history of heart disease and strokes, but I never ever thought that I would get it, because I was always, walking around. My work is like physical, so I didn't think that I will ever get heart disease. So the physician immediately, I think, what they did was they started to inject me with all this medication, somewhere injected into my tummy and some through my vein. And then I could feel inside like an explosion that hit through my head, and they said I'm out of the woods. So the next morning they said, we got to have a look into your heart and see what damage has been done. So I was wheeled into the theatre, and next minute they were cutting me up onto my vein and put the cameras through to have a look inside. And so they said they can't do any stenting, and then I have to go in for a triple bypass operation. I was there for about probably another 3 weeks in there, and I was monitored all the time. The doctors used to come in the morning and afternoon. I was told that you're going to have all these medications. You have to watch what you're eating, and then I got to follow it up with the GP in 2 weeks' time, because they need to have a look at the operation and the wounds, how they're healing up. My life could have been taken in milliseconds. You don't have minutes, but seconds. I could have been doing other things, with the family. I could have been more passionate about life, getting out, enjoying things. But I think I was caught up, probably with work, trying to support the family. The panic attack started immediately after I had a call from the insurance company telling me that they've declined my policy, and they gave me reasons for it. Then the company that I was working for, they were going through a restructuring process because they were negotiating for a telecom contract. And at that time, they lost the contract, so all our jobs were made redundant, and I was sent a letter stating that I was redundant, and that was the last thing I wanted to hear. very, very difficult time, because now I realize that I'm going to be in financial ruin, because I was dependent on the job, I was dependent on the insurance company to pay me my income protection, and that was declined. And then I was just getting these non-stop panic attacks, and I ended up in the hospital the next day. The ambulance had to pick me up because my legs buckled up. I was having breathing difficulties, and the ambulance thought I was having another heart attack. So while in hospital, the doctors were treating me, and they told me that I had a severe panic attack, and that that's when they made arrangements for all this, for the psychologists and psychiatrists to treat me. I think it was the best thing that ever happened, because they showed me the different side of life, about understanding about depression, about panic attacks, and about deep breathing exercises, and visualizing something different about nature, meditation, all these things I had to learn. At the time, while I was going through this depression, and my daughter, and I was getting these panic attacks, so my daughter told me, she says, "Dad, what do you really want in life? Do you want a second chance in life, or do you want to pursue this evil, horrible money?" I said, I want a second chance in life. My wife Rachel, such an amazing person, and she did a lot of research into what I should be eating, and she retrained herself into this new cooking methods. I was on a high fiber diet ever since, and I learned about having a good breakfast in the morning, and having lots of fruits and vegetables, and I learned about the other aspects of life, about kindness, happiness, and compassion, and those are the ingredients of my life today. I started doing long distance walks, and then that progressed into running. So I started jogging in a local park, football field, and from there then I started running on the road. And I said, I can't imagine myself doing this, I said, I never ran in my life, I never exercised, and here I am, feeling great, and every day I want to run. And so I continued, and the big breakthrough came was in 2010, 1 year later after having the heart attack. I entered the Rwanda Bays. I was excited. Approximately 30,000 people were there, all runners, and I told myself, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to complete this race, but as I was running, I could see ambulance every 1K, and I felt safe, and I told myself in my mind, they are not going to pick me up today, definitely. I'm going to be running the full race. I did finish the race. I was overjoyed. I teared. I couldn't believe that I've done this. Go and see a doctor, have a thorough checkup. Go and see a cardiologist. Initially, I was afraid to see a cardiologist. Because when you talk about a cardiologist, it's like something's wrong with your heart. But they are there to fix it. 2016, I was challenged again to do the World Masters 10K run. And so I entered it, I completed it, I felt over the moon. I felt a sense of accomplishment. I was not thinking about my heart anymore, and neither was I thinking about depression or panic attacks. I started setting new goals as to what I need to do every day. My business is successful, my life is successful, and I've learned to outsource work. I've learned to outsource a lot of things, but a few things that I want to outsource is my life and my running, those will stay with me for the rest of my journey.